I'm Francesca Maxime.
And I'm NATHALIA ORTIZ, and this is Currents.
Wisdom for Wall Street you won't hear in business school.
If you take your Christianity seriously, you might want to listen to the man.
Good Friday evening to you. Natalia is joining us tonight because Matt McClure has the night off. Well, good news for the U.S. economy. Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner in Pittsburgh today for the G20 summit says that we are beginning to see some growth. But Geithner says the economy still has a long way to go.
And how did we get here in the first place? Was it a matter of wanting too much, or was there something missing? Wall Street was front and center during the banking crisis that occurred just over a year ago. But what can business people learn so that they don't make the same mistakes again? The answer may require a little faith.
Good business practice, from a practical perspective, really is based upon what I'm going to call strong biblical principles.
Chuck Gallagher is a businessman who speaks from experience. You see, he didn't always operate ethically.
I embezzled money from clients. I created a Ponzi scheme. And you do reap what you sow.
He now applies this Bible passage to the corporate world, but only after spending 18 months in federal prison for his actions. After his release in 1996, Gallagher turned his life around, becoming the senior vice president of a publicly traded company. He is now a public speaker advocating for the very same rules he once violated.
The longer you rationalize unethical behavior, the greater the consequence, up and including federal prison in my case.
But Lauren Bloom, another business ethics speaker, says part of the problem stems from the classroom.
It's been common practice in the business schools to teach MBA candidates that the primary focus of a corporation is to make money for its shareholders. Now that is a valid goal, but it's not the only goal.
She says, contrary to popular belief, faith-based principles can and should play a role in the workplace.
If you're a person of faith, it's important to look at the people you're doing business with and say, all right, I want to make a nice living here, I want to make a good profit, but those people need to survive too.
Bloom urges people to not treat faith and business as if they were mutually exclusive.
When I'm in church, but when I'm at work, it's business. And I guess what I would say is if you take your Christianity seriously, you might want to listen to the man.
And we wanted to listen to people for whom business dealings are their daily bread. So we went to Wall Street and asked people there if religious principles should apply to business.
How my faith impacts me is to be ethical and to have ethical business practices.
People down here are greedy and everything, the ones who lack faith.
Even the most skeptical of all agreed religious beliefs may add a positive element to the world of business.
Unfortunately, the business world is kind of ruthless, so that rarely applies, but it would help a lot.
But this convicted felon claims he's learned his lesson and assures us it wouldn't just help, it needs to be an integral part of business.
When a business enterprise can understand that the foundation of faith and ethics and morals into the fiber of the business actually increases the value of the business, I think you find a flourishing business.
Whether you're religious or not, when it comes to business, most seem to agree a little faith can take you a long way.
In related news, even the Vatican is taking steps for greater financial transparency. It announced earlier this week an overhaul of its bank management. What do you think?
Well, I really liked your piece. I think that it speaks to the fact, something that we kind of already know, which is good ethical practices, you know, also have a place in business. And I think sometimes with Gordon Gekko, you know, Wall Street, the greed kind of feeling, we can get into trouble as we've seen recently.
That's right,
So this is a good reminder.
Yeah, the business ethics experts that I interviewed said to me, this will happen again because we're all human, and really what we have to do, there could be all the federal regulation that you want, but if you don't go back to basics and really exercise those principles that faith teaches, then we're going to be here again in a few years. So that's what it's all about.
Right, and I think that each company can really establish their own personal set of ethics so that they can, you know, require their employees to adhere to a certain thing as opposed to encouraging, you know, crazy behavior.
Absolutely.
All right, well, stay tuned. When Currents returns, Wall Street is not the only place where faith can be hard to find, as the Pope will discover over the weekend. We'll have that and the rest of the day's headlines.